I was 21 when this happened, still living at home with my mom, finishing my final year of college in a small town just outside of Boise, Idaho. That week, my mom had gone on a trip with her sister to Arizona, so I had the house all to myself. I always thought staying alone would feel freeing. No rules, no awkward check-ins, just silence and space. But it didn't. By the second night, the silence felt oppressive. It started small. That Tuesday, I came home from class around 6 p.m., dumped my backpack on the couch, and went straight upstairs to my room. The house was quiet. Not peaceful quiet, empty quiet. As I passed the guest bedroom, I noticed something weird. The door was slightly open. That door was always closed. I paused, looked inside. Nothing. Just a neatly made bed, dresser, nightstand, and a small wooden chair my mom insisted on keeping even though no one ever sat in it. I closed the door and went to my room. Did some homework, made a frozen pizza, watched a couple of episodes of The Office. Around midnight, I was getting ready for bed when I heard it. A thump, not loud, but clear. It came from the guest room. I froze, my toothbrush still buzzing in my hand. Another thump, softer this time. I walked toward the hallway, my bare feet cold on the wooden floor. The door to the guest room was open again, wider this time. I told myself I had probably forgotten to close it properly. Maybe a draft. But the house didn't have any open windows, and the air felt still. I stepped into the room, turned on the light. Nothing. I looked under the bed just to be sure. Felt stupid even doing it. Empty. I closed the door, this time pulling it shut firmly until I heard the latch click. Then I went to bed. And I swear, I wish this was the end. But that night, I woke up around 3:40 a.m. and I wasn't sure why, until I heard breathing. Not mine. It was low, ragged, coming from the floor, specifically from under my bed. My entire body locked up. I didn't move, didn't even blink. The breathing continued. Shallow inhales, wet exhales. It wasn't a heater. It wasn't pipes. It wasn't a dream. It was someone. Someone breathing just inches beneath where I lay. I slowly reached for my phone on the nightstand. The screen lit up 3:47 a.m. No missed calls. No messages. I unlocked it and hovered my thumb over 911. But something told me not to do it yet. Maybe if I just stayed still, maybe it would stop. Maybe I was imagining it. But then I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye. A hand. A pale, dirty hand slowly reaching out from under my bed. Fingers twitching. I leapt off the bed, heart pounding, and sprinted to the hallway. I slammed my door shut and pressed my back against it, panting. No sound now. Nothing. Just silence again. I didn't sleep. I didn't even move. I just sat there until sunrise. When the morning light crept through the windows, I finally dared to open the door. The bed looked normal. I grabbed a bat from the hallway closet and carefully dropped to the floor to check under it. Nothing. Just dust. A stray sock. No sign of anyone. I checked the guest room again. Still empty. Still neat. Every window in the house was locked. Every door secured. But that wasn't the scariest part. That came later. When I checked the front door security camera footage, it had picked up motion at 2:54 a.m. A man, crawling up the front steps. Not walking, crawling. He didn't try the front door. He just stood up slowly, looked into the camera with wide, dead eyes, then turned and walked toward the back of the house. I called the police. They searched the whole property. Nothing. But they did find something in the backyard. A chair, positioned perfectly beneath my bedroom window, and in the dirt beside it, footprints, bare feet, and next to them, drag marks, like someone had been lying on their stomach, pulling themselves across the ground. I still don't know how he got in. or how long he was under my bed, or what would have happened if I had stayed asleep. I don't live in that house anymore. And even now, years later, I still sleep with my bed pushed flat to the floor, just in case. This happened to my cousin Claire when she was 16. She grew up in a rural part of northern Michigan. You know the type. One long road, thick woods on both sides, and not much else. Her house was a small, two-bedroom cabin her dad built himself. No neighbors for miles. Just pine trees, deer, and silence. One Saturday evening in October, Claire was home alone. Her parents had gone to visit some friends a few towns over and wouldn't be back until the next morning. Claire wasn't scared. She'd stayed home by herself plenty of times. She spent most of the night watching horror movies on her laptop. Around 11:30, she got up to make hot chocolate. While waiting for the kettle to boil, she heard something. Not from inside the house. From outside. A soft knock. 3 gentle taps. Coming from the back door. She froze. No one ever came to the back door. That side of the house faced the woods, not the driveway. At first, she thought maybe it was a raccoon or a branch in the wind. But then it knocked again. 3 deliberate knocks, evenly spaced. Claire tiptoed toward the back of the house. The door was mostly glass, just an old wooden frame with a large, square window. At first, she didn't see anything. But then, movement. A person, standing at the tree line, not approaching, just watching. It was a man, tall, maybe 6 feet, wearing all black. She stepped back. Every instinct in her body screamed to turn off the lights, to hide, to call someone. She reached for her phone. No service. Of course. Claire turned off the kitchen light. Then the hallway one. Then her bedroom. She crawled under the bed and waited. For 10 long minutes, nothing happened. No sounds. No movement. She tried to stay calm. Tried to tell herself it was a prank. Maybe a hunter. Maybe someone lost. But then she heard it again. Tap. 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 Not at the back door. At the front now. Whoever it was had walked all the way around the cabin. She slid out from under her bed and crawled across the floor to the front window. Peeking between the blinds, she saw him again. Closer this time. Standing at the edge of the porch. He wasn't knocking anymore. He was smiling. Not a normal smile. Wide. Too wide. Like it hurt his face. She ducked down. Her chest tightened. Claire grabbed the landline phone from the hallway and tried dialing 911. Did? No tone. She ran to her parents' room to get the shotgun her dad kept under the bed. It was unloaded. Bullets? Locked in a box in the garage. Then, another sound. Not knocking. Scraping. Something dragging across the side of the cabin walls. She peeked through the blinds again. He was gone. She waited. Frozen. Not daring to move. 10 more minutes passed. Then something shattered. The back door glass. Claire screamed. She grabbed the nearest thing, a heavy lamp, and bolted into the closet. She closed the door slowly, clutching the lamp like a weapon. Footsteps entered the kitchen. Heavy, deliberate. Then, silence, for what felt like hours. No footsteps, no breathing, just her heart pounding in her ears. Suddenly, the closet door handle jiggled. Once, twice, then stopped. Silence again. Eventually, she heard a faint voice. Claire. She didn't move. Claire, it's me. Open up. It was her dad's voice. But he was supposed to be gone until morning, and there was something wrong about how he said it. It was like he was trying to remember how to sound like her dad. Claire, come on. It's safe now. She didn't say a word. Didn't move. Didn't believe it. She stayed curled up in the closet all night. When the sun came up and light poured through the cracks in the door, she finally opened it. The house was empty. No broken glass. No footsteps. No man. Everything was untouched, like nothing had happened. She called her dad, who answered on the second ring. They were still at the friend's house. Hadn't left yet. Claire didn't say much, just told them to come home. She waited on the front porch until they pulled into the driveway an hour later. Her dad checked the house. Everything locked. No signs of entry. But there was one thing. On the outside of the cabin, etched into the wood near the back door. "See you next time," in long, ragged letters. They sold the house a month later. Claire doesn't live in the woods anymore, and she never spends the night alone. This happened in 2016. I was working night shifts as a front desk clerk at a mid-range hotel in Kentucky. Not a chain, just a quiet place off the highway. 30 rooms. Nothing fancy. The kind of hotel people stop at when they're too tired to keep driving. I worked 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Boring most nights. Sometimes eerie, but never dangerous. Until this one night. It was around 2:15 a.m. when the call came in. Room 209. The man's voice was low, scratchy, almost wrong. He just said, "She won't stop knocking." I blinked. "I'm sorry, sir." "She won't stop. She's standing at the door." Then he hung up. I stared at the phone for a second, trying to process it. Room 209 had been empty all day. Hadn't been booked. I checked the system just to be sure. Still empty. Vacant. So I thought maybe someone was knocking on the wrong door. Or maybe some local kids were messing around. I picked up the phone and dialed the room anyway, out of curiosity. It rang 3 times. Then someone picked up. They didn't say anything, but I could hear breathing. Slow. Uneven. Wet. "Hello?" I asked. The line went dead. Now I was unsettled. I called security on the radio. Told Mark, the night guard, to go check 209. He said he was nearby and would be there in a minute. I watched the hallway camera on the monitor. Mark walked down the corridor. Stopped in front of room 209. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, then used his key card to open the door. He stepped inside and didn't come back out for almost 2 minutes. When he did, he looked pale, shaken. He called me on the radio, voice quiet. "There's something wrong in that room." I asked him what he meant. "I don't know. I didn't see anyone, but the TV was on. Full volume, static, and the air felt wrong." I asked if he'd turned the TV off. He paused. "No, I couldn't move. I just left." I told him to come back to the desk. We both sat there in silence for a while, watching the monitors. Then something happened. The camera outside room 209 went black. No static, no signal, just the darkness. Mark swore under his breath. We decided to go back together. We took the stairs. When we got to the second floor, everything was quiet. No sounds, no guests. But when we turned the corner, the door to room 209 was wide open. The light from the hallway spilled inside. We approached slowly. From the doorway, we could see the TV. Still on. Still static. Still blasting white noise at full volume. Mark called out, "Hello? Hotel staff. Anyone in here?" Nothing. We stepped inside. The room was freezing. Not cold. Freezing. I could see my breath. And there was this smell. Rot. Like something had been dead for a while. I reached over and hit the light switch. Nothing. I moved toward the TV to turn it off manually. And that's when I saw it. In the reflection on the TV screen. A figure. Standing just behind me. Tall. Thin. Head tilted. I spun around, but the room was empty. Mark looked at me. "Did you see that?" I just nodded. We both backed out slowly and shut the door. We didn't go back. The next day, I told the manager everything. She was quiet for a while, then said, "Room 209 was the one, wasn't it?" I asked her what she meant. She said years ago, before I started, a woman had died in that room. She'd been staying there long term. They found her after a guest in the next room complained about the smell. The manager told me that after they cleaned it out and reopened the room, things kept happening. Guests complaining of knocking, voices, the TV turning on by itself. One woman said she woke up in the middle of the night and saw someone sitting at the foot of her bed, smiling at her. They shut the room down for a while, eventually reopened it, but only when absolutely necessary. The thing was, that night I got the call. Room 209 wasn't booked, hadn't been entered, hadn't been touched. And yet, someone or something had called me from that phone. We disconnected the line the next morning and pulled the camera feed. When the footage finally loaded, we watched the last few minutes before the camera died. The hallway was empty. Then, without warning, the door to 209 slowly creaked open, but no one opened it. And right before the feed cut to black, a figure stepped out. Just a blur, a dark shape, head tilted, looking directly into the camera. Then it was gone. To this day, room 209 is sealed shut, and no one at the hotel talks about it. But every now and then, around 2:15 a.m., the front desk phone still rings. And if you answer, you'll hear breathing. Then a low, broken voice whisper, "She's knocking again."